Greetings in the name of Kadamawi Haile Selassie, the crowned King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. This short clip today is based on the apocalypse. I remember as a child, because I grew up in a neighborhood that was filled with churches, and I was basically compelled to go to almost every single one of them. Morning service, Sunday school, confirmation class, Bible study, everything. And there was a lot of fear generated because of the apocalypse, the last days. And I can understand how it could generate some fear because, who wants to know about, their demise, the end? But then as I grew older, I started to put two and two together, and I realized almost everything in our universe is cyclic, a cycle, circular, I guess. And if you take, for example, a wedding ring, it's round, and it's supposed to signify an unending commitment, because really and truly a circle has no beginning or end. Ultimately, the beginning and the end would be the same spot. Then it dawned on me that the evil, which coincidentally in English spelled backwards is live, which to me implies that as long as you could avoid evil, then you stand a greater possibility of actually living. Evil has found a way to alter and manipulate the African spiritual belief system to the point where Africans today, especially in the West, have become so fearful of things that we live a life in fear. And it's understandable. If you bring people over to subject them to slavery, then you really and truly don't want them to be emancipated or mentally liberated or mentally free. You don't want them to be able to think freely or rationally, because then it's like a lion trainer in a circus teaching a lion to be his actual self. It not only defeats the purpose of the circus training, but it endangers the life of the trainer, because once the lion realizes, hey, I'm a predator, I could take these people down, then that's the end of the circus. In the beginning of time, few of us know what actually happened, but for recorded history, it is known that Africans started almost everything, which was subsequently plundered, pillaged, stolen, and modified by others. And the apocalypse basically generates fear for non-Africans, because in my opinion, the apocalypse ultimately means a return to the beginning where Africans ruled the world. And that is something that a lot of people are not prepared to deal with. Now, ideally, we as a people should actually push for this to happen, simply because it means that we would return to our ancient glory, would actually return to that ancient place where we were in charge. And as Dr. John Hendrik Clarke mentioned it, Chancellor Williams also mentioned it in The Destruction of Black Civilization. John Hendrik Clarke mentioned it in Christianity Before Jesus, or Before Christ. I guess there's a little contradiction. Christianity Before Christ is a little, I guess he had a slip of the tongue. The Christianity Before Jesus. And Ray Higgins also alluded to it, or actually mentioned it implicitly or explicitly in Time to Wake Up Now, in his video, also on YouTube. We as a people built things to start a culture of civilized people way before the intervention of other individuals. But then once these individuals came down, and of course, we welcomed them with open arms because by nature, we are not an evil people. Innately, we are a welcoming, hospitable people. So we really and truly, it still happens. It might be considered naivety, being naive to think that evil doesn't exist. And yeah, some churches actually preach that to you, that, you shouldn't dwell on it, that you should avoid it and be good to everybody and everything, which is counterproductive. But as a people, we welcomed everybody with open arms because we never expected anybody to come to us with evil. But history has shown us that there were African black explorers who visited the West and other shores and always took gifts. The world's wealthiest man to date, Mansa Musa, an African. He was known, his brother also was known to have been a seafaring person. And they traveled, they took gifts. I mean, Mansa was wealthy, so if he travels to your place, everybody's going to be welcoming him. He's bringing gold and pottery and fine linen and that kind of stuff. Unlike other dudes who would visit you and bring blankets with smallpox. Now, think of this for a while. You're going to a strange place, never been there before. You don't know what you will meet. But in your mind's eye, you're picturing you could meet other individuals, creatures, persons, species like yourself. And you take blankets infected with disease. Just think about that for a while. I know it's going to be hard because it's not in our nature. We're not like that. We take gifts. We do it today. It's cultural. It's genetic. We go to somebody's house. If possible, we take a bottle of wine, a 6-pack of beer. I mean, some people might say the 6-pack of beer might be just as bad as a small pox-infested blanket. But what I'm trying to get is that our nature as a people is not evil. And I'm not saying that every non-black person is evil, because there's some evil black folks too. There's some black folks who've actually allowed themselves to be so possessed by evil that they would kill their own for material gain. And this is the state that we're in. We are a people who really and truly have the power, the God-given power, to be anything we want to be. We ruled the earth for centuries, for millennia. And the apocalypse basically would welcome that. I personally would welcome the apocalypse, where the black man returns to his ancient glory, his melanin is stimulated, his first eye is reopened. And to be quite honest with you, if you were to sit down and give it, you don't have to put a lot of thought into it. But if you think of, if you could picture, if you could actually close your eyes and go back to the days where the pyramids were being built and think about the technology in existence. If we did what we did then with the technology of that day, even though there's nothing new under the sun, so there's a possibility that there could have been supercomputers too. We don't know. The history, a lot of stuff was destroyed and burnt by European and Asian invaders. So we really and truly don't know exactly what existed. We were told that Edison and these guys discovered electricity and the light bulb, and we know that's a lie. You got drawings of pyramids, transformers, huge bulbs, and all these sorts of things. But as the saying goes, who controls the page, the printing of the page, controls the image of the age. Breaking it down, who controls the media, the different medium, or all the media of dissemination of information, ultimately controls what gets to the mind. They control what you see, they control what you hear. And these two organs ultimately rule a lot of what goes on in here. But the one thing that we all have absolute monopoly over is our mind. I know it might sound hard because a lot of people have actually lost theirs. But really and truly, our mind is the only thing we truly own. And if you could use your mind and realize who and what we are as a people, then ultimately our union, our coming together would bring about such an invincible force, such an invincible group of people, that we don't need weapons of mass destruction or anything else to control, because that has never been our priority as a people. Africans have never been interested in world dominion, world control. We have always lived in a culture of camaraderie. Basically, or as they would call it, socialism. We always were social people. Social living has always proven to be most beneficial for society. And I mean, it's implicit. You're dealing with society, then you have to be social. So I welcome the apocalypse. I welcome a return to the beginning, or some might say a return to the end, however you choose to put it. Think about it for a while, and leave your comments. You could hit me up. You could email me at foriternallife@gmail.com. FORITERNALLIFE, one word, at gmail.com. And we could discuss it. We could debate it. I'm willing to learn. And a lot of these videos are basically, a lot of them are my opinions that I'm sharing, but I'm also trying to stimulate rational, conscious, logical thought. So, because like I said, your mind is yours. I'm not trying to control your mind. I'm trying to open your mind so our minds can work together and we can rekindle that cosmic force, that cosmic power that we truly are. Give thanks and remember to hail the King of Kings, because ultimately we are all kings and queens. So the King of Kings is just an example of who we are to be. And he has his wife, the Queen, the Empress. Hail Rastafari. Give thanks.